All right. Well, first, I wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your day this evening to meet with me and to talk to me about your needs and how I can help you with the tools in your business and really help your customers in the long run. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. I'm going to start with just a few questions, if that's okay with you. What's your background? Let's start there. Background of you and your shop.
I've been a barber for almost 4 years, and I've owned my own barbershop for 2 years now.
Awesome. And what did you do before barbering?
I was a plumber. Quite a bit different.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
But you still had tools that you used in the plumbing business that you preferred and that sort of thing. So that still counts. How many people do you normally see in a day?
Anywhere from 8 to 15 people.
And are you able to increase that number at all, or are you looking to?
I personally can't increase the number. That's about the most people I can see a day, but I would like to increase it by adding someone to the shop.
Okay. And when you add someone to the shop, since you own it, do you tell them what tools to use, or do they have their own preferences?
They have their own preferences, but if they're new, I'll definitely try and point them in the way of what I like.
Try to show them what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Awesome. So owning your own business can be difficult. A barbershop is kind of in a world of its own. What are the difficulties that you have on a day-to-day basis?
Well, we're appointments only, so getting people to show up on time.
Yeah. What about when they're in the chair?
Getting them to loosen up and talk. Some people are a little hard to, get to. But, figure out what they want in their haircut. A lot of people aren't good at describing what they want. Some people are 40 years old and they have no idea how they get their hair cut.
Okay. And how do you think the tools help you with that? Like your clippers, and do you think that affects your customers at all?
Absolutely. I've seen cheap clippers cut hair and it looks choppy and blurry and it grows out in staggered ways, and quality clippers don't do that.
Yeah. What about like overheating of the clipper or getting hot or biting into someone? That affects your tip at the end of the day if they're not happy, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody wants their hair pulled.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. If you had the opportunity to design the perfect clipper for you, what would be your top 3 things that you would want?
Power, speed, and in this day and age, nobody uses a cord. We don't use corded clippers. We use battery-powered clippers. They get charged at the end of the day or at the end of the week. So something that's going to last. But the main 2 out of the 3 is power and speed.
That makes sense. When you say power, what do you mean by that? How does that help?
Power to cut through thick hair. Everyone's hair is different. Some people have thin hair, not a big deal. Some people have really thick hair, and a cheap Walmart clipper is not going to get through that hair, at least without tugging on it or going over it 5 times. I want to make 1 or 2 passes and be done.
That makes sense. Do you have certain clippers that you use for certain clients, or do you kind of use them all for everyone?
One of my clippers is an adjustable speed clipper, so every once in a while I will adjust the speed of it depending on the type of hair. But typically I use the same 3 to 4 or 5 clippers every day on everyone.
Yeah.
Depending on the hair and the sensitivity of their skin.
Okay. And what are those clippers and trimmers that you have?
Well, I use an Andis with detachable blades. That's my main clipper.
Okay.
I also use an Andis adjustable clipper, and I use an Andis trimmer. I have a Babyliss trimmer, and I use wall adjustable clippers. So.
Okay, perfect. And you said you use all of them generally for every cut?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And for services that you offer, obviously you do cuts. Do you also do trimming, shaving, the works, all of that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So is it accurate to say that your first priority when selecting a clipper, obviously I would think that power goes into speed, right? So first priority is probably going to be power.
Power doesn't always go into speed.
Okay.
It's kind of like a diesel engine. In the old days, they had a lot of torque. They could cut through the hair, but they weren't fast. And then they put turbos on them.
Okay.
If you want to be a mechanic about it. So power doesn't always go into speed. Nowadays, it kind of does. But, you know, cheap clippers are still cheap clippers.
Okay. And what about trimmers? Is it the same thing? Is it going to be a little different?
With trimmers, I'm looking for something that's going to take the hair away to nothing, because that's my objective. But I also don't want to bite their skin, especially kids, older people, stuff like that. I don't want to irritate their skin too bad, but I want to get as close of a cut as I can. So that's a fine line. And there's really only a few of them out there that will do that job.
Okay, that's good to know. So you have a few that you use, or do you just have one of those that you...
I have two.
Okay.
The main one I use is an Andis. They just came out with it, the GTX EXO. And then I have the Babyliss skeleton trimmer.
Okay, perfect. And do you prefer one over the other?
I prefer the Andis over the Babyliss. I'm kind of an Andis guy. They've never really let me down. I think they've been making clippers longer than anybody else, if I remember right, back in the early 1900s. So, and that clipper I think can still be bought today, and it looks nearly identical.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. It's got a cord. I don't want to use it anymore.
Yeah.
But now they make it in the cordless version, which is even cooler.
Okay. And let's go into price a little bit. Is that something that affects your decision when you're picking a clipper and a trimmer, or?
It really isn't. I used to think it was, but it really isn't. At the end of the day, for me, it's a write-off.
Okay.
So, and it's a tool that is going to help me throughout the day. If it makes my day easier, if it makes the cut cleaner, I don't really care if it costs $40, $50, $100 more. And I have a lot of trimmers and clippers that I bought that cost a lot more than other ones. And they might only be a little bit better, but that's all right.
So it's a get what you pay for kind of situation when it comes to
Absolutely.
tools.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't buy my clippers from Walmart or anything like that.
Yeah. I didn't expect you did. Well, that's all that I have for now. Do you have any questions for me?
Unless you know when the next Andis clipper or trimmer's coming out.
Well, we'll save that for next week's conversation. So do you have time next week to meet with me to continue our conversation and go more into what we offer?
Absolutely.
All right. Perfect. I will get that on the books. Thank you so much.
Thank you.